Welcoming everybody to the Laying It Down podcast, where we talk about everything going on in the wrestling world with professional wrestlers, content creators, and everything in between. Tonight, we have the one and only professional wrestler, Rick Rose. Welcome in, my friend.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. I
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
Absolutely. Fellow New Yorker, fellow Boricua. It's like nice to get to know so many different people, so many diverse people in this internet wrestling space. So I appreciate you taking the time to come up, and I appreciate you wanting to be on the podcast. It's really cool to have everybody come in and get your insight on a lot of things as a professional wrestler yourself.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I've been watching. I like the content that you guys make. It's really good. I like that you bring in wrestlers, you bring in podcast people, and it's wrestling related. Like, you gotta love it. Wrestling's hot right now. Get it while it's hot.
Wrestling has become so freaking mainstream too. It's like, as somebody who was a kid watching wrestling forever and being told all the time, oh, it's like a silly show, it's for kids and stuff, it's nice to see full grown adults finally enjoying and listening to this. Like, it's so freaking cool to be a part of the cool kids zone finally, instead of like the outcast of like, oh, you watch wrestling.
Yeah, now it's like, who doesn't really watch it? Everybody's now a fan secretly. Oh, I like this guy. I like this guy. And usually it's an old school guy too.
People are still in the closet a little bit when it comes to professional wrestling. They don't want to admit yet that they want to be a fan of Cody Rhodes or Roman Reigns, but this is your message. It's all good. We love you. Just enjoy the wrestling.
Yes. Apply that craft. Take it serious for the guys that actually do it.
And so for everybody that's watching right now or listening on YouTube or Spotify, I've known Rick for a little bit now. I think we met through TikTok from what I understand.
Right, TikTok. Yeah, you were doing something like this with another user.
Mr. Know Your
TikTok
Wrestling.
user?
Mr. Know Your Wrestling.
Yes.
My twin brother, or like alter ego, I guess. Everybody thinks we look the same, but shout out to him. He's fucking awesome.
Yeah, he's cool.
And I think we've known each other for a little bit now, because I've known him for a few months. So like, I think you quickly learned about us in the process. So it's like nice how very quickly we've
just check out the catalog, subscribe, type stuff. Yeah.
And I want to say also, I appreciate you for always showing love on our videos. There'll be like a random Wednesday in the afternoon, and I just see Slick NYC liked all the videos, all the content. I appreciate that. Like, I notice it, I see it, and I'm very grateful. Very, very appreciative of that. So for everybody that's watching right now, we're going to be interviewing Rick Rose very shortly. I want to let you guys know, check out the JLD merch over at justlayingdown.com, where you could get your t-shirts, you get your jackets, hats. We now have water bottles, which is freaking cool. We actually made that live on TikTok with the community, and as well as the OTC original Twitch Chief t-shirt. All of that and more could be found on justlayingdown.com. And for Rick Rose, you can check out his links, all of his social media down in the description below. Doesn't matter what platform you are on, you'll be able to check him out and follow him wherever you get all of your social media content. I also want to give a big sponsor shout out over to E Deuce and Baby Deuce, a father-son duo and WWE content creation pair. Together, they react to upcoming WWE shows, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and cover current wrestling and video game news. You can check out their merchandise straight from Pro Wrestling Tees by going to ProWrestlingTees.com/eDeuce and Baby Deuce, and check out eDeuce's content over on TikTok and Instagram. All of these links will be available for you guys in the description below. And once again, shout out to them for sponsoring tonight's episode. During today's episode, I will be chatting with Rick Rose on several different topics, such as his love for professional wrestling, his career as a professional wrestler, and what it takes to become one, his thoughts on the current WWE product, and just get to know each other in the process. Like I said, we're fellow New Yorkers, we're fellow Puerto Ricans, and we got a lot in common, more than we probably even think. So in the future, if you have any questions you'd like to ask our future Laying It Down podcast guests, make sure you guys are following us on social media and see once we post online, and you'll be able to ask our guest questions in the future, just like fellow community members have done for tonight's episode. And without further ado, welcome in, Rick. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm picture perfect, man. That's how you do it. I gotta be ready for anything. That's what I was trained for. That's what I'm here for.
Hell yeah. So I like to start off the podcast with the most generic question, but it is the most standard, so everybody gets to know who you are. So I'm going to give you the floor. I'm going to let you introduce yourself to the podcast, who you are, where people can find you, give us a little background about yourself and the kind of content you create and the kind of professional wrestler you are, and little fun facts about you if you'd like. So tell us a little bit about who is Rick Rose.
Who is Rick Rose? Well, some people say he's a rock star. Some people say he's the real McCoy. He's a little bit of everything. He's a man of all talents. Put in the right spot, he can do anything, really. To get a real good glimpse of who Rick is, Rick Rhodes. You know, my music on all platforms, just dropped a new project, Rockstar Galore, with my homie Kyoga. Been making music for years. That tells you everything that you really need to know about my personal life. But when it comes to the wrestling life, it's just like you, man. I love it. You know what I'm saying? I live, sleep, breathe it. You know, one day I want to wake up, just have my own title, my own glory, and you know what I'm saying, and be around and fight for it. You know, I'm someone that worked from the very bottom and scraped his way up through a lot of people, being trained by. Should I get into that, or
If you want, you're more than welcome to. Yeah.
I appreciate it. You know, I've been through the ringer, as you can say. I started, you know, basically in the backyard, like everyone would, you know, probably should, learning slow, not just jumping in there, you know, learning from other guys and then hearing, you know, I would get booked behind other shows but they would take care of me. They knew I was new. They knew I was very green. So I was learning how to chain and stuff in my local area in New York. I would learn how to chain, bump, you know. Then the promotion that I was like learning from, they took like a hiatus. And I'm like, damn, I need to still learn, you know. So I Googled like a school in Jersey, Patterson. The owner was Kevin Knight. Shout out to Kevin Knight, IWF. I remember he had like an open tryout. I remember I was like 16, I was like 17, 16 years old. He had like an open tryout. It was online. I found it on Google. When I got there, I was like the second person there. I didn't win, but I came in like runner up. Like he liked me enough to be like, you know what? I see that you have some like you know, you're familiar with moving in the ring a little bit. I didn't know everything. You know, I was still green, but he saw potential. He saw that, you know, there's something there. And he gave me like a couple months free. And in those couple months, that's when I learned like psychology. And then that's when the other promotion came back, right when I was just getting my fill and everything and understanding like you gotta invest in your gear, you gotta invest in you know what I'm saying? Understanding how to put a match together, how to make sense, you know, because you can do something and yeah, it can make sense, but if the guy is bigger than you, then you shouldn't be doing certain things to him, you know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. And then I went back to that promotion and I was killing it for like 2 years. I was like a all-star champion. I was a two-time tri-state champion. Shout out to Empire Pro for giving me that opportunity over there. And then I was like, you know what? I think I'm ready. I'm gonna go try out for Ring of Honor. This was like
Okay.
2011.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like 2011. I tried out. I would say that I think I was the best wrestler there. I'm not the judges. I can't really say, but if you ask me, I thought I was the best wrestler trying out. And
You got to feel that way
there,
about yourself.
you know what I mean? Yeah, and you know, their world champion at the time, Jay Lethal, like he was really trying to push, like, hey man, like I see the potential in this kid, and you know, like yeah, he's young, but he has, you know, he's got it, and that's just what it is. And you know, unfortunately, Kevin Kelly, I don't want to drop a name, but he didn't really like me. You know, I'm a little guy, you know, 6 foot nothing, 170 pounds, nothing, but solid. You know what I'm saying? But it's not the standard of what like Vince looks for. You know, he thinks like Vince, so it didn't work out. Unfortunately, with Ring of Honor, even though Jay Lethal tried.
Never
Shout out
say
to
never in
Jay.
the future, though. You never know.
Never saying that because yeah, you know, I don't know if he's the booker now. You know, that was so long ago.
And then
Um,
new management, a whole new
I mean,
freaking owner.
well, now we got guys that are like Orange Cassidy who are like 150. You know what I mean? And he's like one of the biggest baby faces in AEW, if you ask me.
Right.
Same thing with when it comes to like Dominic Mysterio, one of the biggest heels, and he's like the smallest guy.
Yeah, he's
You know what I
tall, but
mean?
he got some slimness to him. Yeah,
Well, yeah, you know, his dad is Ray, so
he's a deadbeat.
he's got to be good. You know, he got big shoes to fill when you're a generation talent. It's good for you for work, but it's bad because they expect a lot from you now. So it's like you got to deliver.
And we'll talk about
There's no,
Dominic Mysterio actually in the second half of this podcast. But I got nothing but, as much as he's a big heel, I have nothing but
yeah,
good things to say about Dominic.
yeah. I like Don. I like he's only getting better. You know, the more you watch him, he's keeping up with Gunther and stuff like that. Like I was like, yeah, he's actually putting in the work. So and it's in his blood, man.
He watched his
But
he watched his dad all freaking his whole life just to
yeah,
finally
yeah.
fill his shoes and do
He
his
was
thing
in
now.
he was in a pay-per-view when he was like a child, right? That ladder match.
Custody of Dominic.
Yeah, yeah, that was pretty sure he gets a royalty from that, you know, like that must be
Imagine.
really nice. But after I tried out for Ring of Honor, that's when I went to join Johnny's club, the Unpredictable Wrestling Club over there in Brooklyn, Glease's gym. And I was there for like 3 years after all that. So like in total, I wrestled for like 7, we're going on 8. And then take a break, work on music, come back, see that wrestling is popping. It's like, whoa, a lot of things has changed since I've been back. A lot of things. Like Like back in the day when a match would start, no one would clap in the beginning. Like that wasn't a
Yeah,
thing.
it's the anticipation of the match
And,
too that
yeah,
has to do with it.
it was never a thing to clap in the beginning of the match. It's little things like that I come back to and I'm like, okay, huh, that's cool. Little things like, and this match is scheduled for one fall, and then they're all
And
going,
like
one
one fall,
fall?
yeah, yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like, where did that come from? I don't remember that at all.
I actually heard that for the first time at an indie show that I went to back in March, and it kind of struck me a little bit because WWE crowds don't really do that. The indie crowd, since obviously you could hear everybody, it's in a small place. I was like, wow, everybody's saying one fall, and then I just started joining in. It was just fun.
Yeah. Yeah, hey, whatever gets the crowd into it, that's two things that is brand new, but it gets the crowd into it, which is good. So I'm liking how like wrestling is starting to structurally wise be better
Mm-hmm.
than what it used to be. And then now we have like a lot of strong style wrestling mixed with, the TV style wrestling. And it's hard to do both. Someone like me, I can wrestle lucha, I can wrestle New Japan, strong style, I
Mm-hmm.
can wrestle American TV stuff. So I'm ready for that. But when I was doing it, people had their own acts,
Mm-hmm.
like nowadays everyone is kind of doing the same thing. I don't really want to talk shit, but I try to tell guys, you want to stand out. You don't want to do the same spot the three matches did before you and then the three matches after, because then the only thing they're really going to remember is your finish. If they remember that, that's not the same. So yeah, that's me. I've been studying, I've been going back, I've been dwelling on little things, looking at seminar tapes just to really see where everyone's head's at, looking at podcasts, checking out people, my competition, been looking at y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been looking. And all I can say is I'm someone who takes it very serious. That's why when I took my step back is because once I'm in, I'm in. You know what I mean? Now that I'm back to doing what I love to do and getting paid for it, that's another thing.
Exactly, yeah.
When I was wrestling 7 years, it was for free. I was just trying to get my name out there.
And that's what people
Nowadays,
don't realize.
there's so much work. And I remember I was talking to some guy in the indies and he was like, oh, there's just so much work and da da da. I said, man, when I was wrestling back in the day, bro, you were lucky to get work. You were lucky to get paid. You can't complain that it's oversaturated right now. Like, if anything, you should be getting it. If you really want to go out there and put in that work, there's guys that's out there that's wrestling every week, every 2 weeks, every month, every other month. You know what I mean? It depends on how you want to take it, how you want to go with your journey. And now that wrestling is more strong style, you really got to pick and choose your places.
And I think
You really
now
do.
that it's like easy, like not easy, but like it's easier to advertise yourself now that we're in an age of social media compared
Oh,
to back
yeah.
in the day when it was
Oh, yeah.
flyers and it was word of mouth. And
Everything was word of mouth back in the day.
if there was any kind of social media, it was Yahoo, it was MySpace, it was those
Email.
platforms. Yup. It was those platforms. There was no Instagram DMs and none of that. It was a
Now
whole
you could
different
just
thing.
there's an app. You could take your match and then put it through an app that'll take the highlights from your match and then you
Mm-hmm.
can post it and then boost it. That way you can get fans, likes, followers. Like you don't. It's a lot easier now. It's a lot easier, but you gotta know what you're doing. A lot of guys
Yep.
is
You can't just post and that's it.
guy. A lot of guys are
You
just
gotta know the
wrestling. They're just
system.
wrestling, and then every now and then they'll do a promo and put it out there. No promotion, no nothing. They just put it out there. Got like a couple likes from their little core following, but we all know it's nothing like the glory. When you actually get the glory of being a real champion, when people are going to hit you up, hey man, I saw that match, yo, great match. That's when you know. That's when you know you're doing something right.
Because like people don't realize you're going for the person. Sure, you like the wrestling moves they do. Sure, they did a cool ass finisher, Canadian Destroyer, or a Crossroads or something. But people have favorite wrestlers because they can relate to them, whether it's on the mic, whether it's their outfit, whether it's the way they promote themselves. And you can have all that, but you need to also play the game of understanding how to promote yourself, social media, or just however you feel like it's gonna
It could be simple.
get
You
your
could
name
just do a
out there.
promo. You could just do a promo of your next match. Call the guy out. Something simple. Boost it. Put a little $5, $10 in it.
Mm-hmm.
Get your money's worth. You know what I mean? Promoters are gonna see that. Like, oh man, this guy is taking this serious. Like because they're trying to get their
They're
names
trying
out
to
there. They're trying to,
they're
you
trying
know
to
what I
promote
mean?
and get
So.
paid too. They're trying to get a
But at the
cut.
end of the day, it's a business. So, like, do you bring some type of commodity? Like, are eyes looking at you? Different type of eyes. So,
And that's how you get promotions to want to book you. Look at Matt Cardona. He's like the best example of that. Matt Cardona said he tries to post every 2 hours in terms of
yeah,
something. He doesn't care what it
he's
is, but if it's
yeah, he's
something that
flooding. He's doing it on all platforms too. He's
He's
doing it on like
everywhere.
Facebook, Instagram, like
Mm-hmm.
TikTok. Like he's flooding it, flooding it, flooding it. It's cool. Like getting the algorithm, crack through that shit. Like
Crack
I
through
mean,
the algorithm, and like, yes, we know he was Zack Ryder from WWE, but now we see him as a more established person and as Matt Cardona. And I say it all the time: if he comes back to WWE, he needs to come back as Matt Cardona, not as the woo 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 Zack Ryder, because that'll show more establishment of him as his character.
hey, whatever they do, if they bring him back, they have to. I mean, he's a Money in the Bank winner, right? Intercontinental champion, U.S. champion. There's like a lot of like accolades with Zach. It's not like he was, but it's not like he had a smaller role and he was in the back or something like that. Like he actually had a decent
He had
role,
a
decent
following too.
run.
Everybody loved him.
Decent. He was like the internet champion at one point. You know what I mean? Like
They
he did. He deserves to be at least mentioned.
When he came out for the TNT Open Challenge against Adam Copeland in that AEW Dynamite episode,
How was that?
that pop went crazy when they saw Matt Cardona's name with the logo. And for that huge pop to happen off of somebody who actually auditioned for AEW and didn't even get to join the company, and just to do a one-time appearance like that, that shows whatever he's doing is working. And fun fact, it was actually Chelsea Green's idea for start going everywhere and being in every promotion. Because when Zach,
That's his wife, right?
yeah, she said you should try to be everywhere, so people start wondering where you're gonna be next.
I
All of
think
those
he's the head
things.
booker at GCW.
Is he okay? Look at that. Look at that. See, when you got that
So
influence,
he's
you do
doing
all that.
things behind. Yeah, he's doing things behind the scenes as you should, man. And he has that new guy. He has some guy that comes out with it, like to his old song. He'd be around, like he's trying to push, which is great. So he's helping the new talent, like
Good.
get their stuff out there. Like he's doing what you got to do as like a leader, when it terms of
You can
being
see it from
like a
him.
locker room leader. Yeah, he's doing what he's got to do. Like he's thinking about the next generation. He's being entertaining. He's staying busy.
So you're the third professional wrestler that I've brought onto this podcast, and I'm happy I've been able to bring professional wrestlers like yourself on, because we get so much insight from you guys of like how it feels to be in the ring, your upbringing on how you got into it, and all that good stuff. However, a lot of people don't know what happens behind the scene as a professional wrestler, whether you're starting out in the indies or if you're in AEW or WWE. So, in your opinion, what is one thing people don't realize that you need to know or prepare for if they want to be in your shoes and become a professional wrestler?
I would say do the research, work out, condition, invest in yourself, and that means more than just like your gear. Like I buy weights, you know what I mean? I work out at home, even when I'm not at the gym training. I'm at home working out. I have a routine. Have your regimen. Take your vitamins. I know it sounds corny, but like in wrestling, there's no off season,
That's why we're
and
here.
it's literally as much as you want to go. How badly you want to go. You know what I mean? That's after you get your feet wet, though. Like after you learn and go to a school or a club and learn how to do the rolls, the bumps, the drills, learn your psychology. Make sure you're solid with those four things before you even do shows. Then get gear. Make sure you look like a star. That's
Mm-hmm.
another thing. You want to look like a star. You don't want to come in jeans and a tank top. That's not pro wrestling. That's backyard, unfortunately. And that's me being nice. That's me just saying, oh, it's backyard. Other people be like, oh, that's the shits. Like Johnny would be, oh, that's the shits.
You got to be unique with
Yeah,
it too,
man.
with the whether it comes to the way you speak to the outfit. The outfit has to be very unique. Now you don't got to do some crazy like ultra designer stuff, but like colorways matter, and the way the
It all
tights
depends
look,
on what act you're going for. Are you gonna be a
and your
comedic
persona.
wrestler? Are you gonna be like an Undertaker? Are you gonna be like a Shawn Michaels? You're a showman with a personality.
Yeah,
Like, what are you? Are you a Stone Cold, like a brawler? You don't take shit from
yeah.
no one. And then look at what they did. Look at those guys that are similar to what you want, and look at the way they dress. And see like, okay, I can wear something like that, or I can have something like that. And it's gonna be more than one guy, because more than one guy has done the same type of act.
Yeah.
So just figure out where you fit.
There can only be so many personalities too. So like, as long as you could put at least some sort of spin on it that's unique, it doesn't have to be too
Oh
crazy.
yeah.
Then people are gonna like you. They're gonna be returning for you. That's people watch wrestling, but they are looking for specific superstars in the process.
They're looking for the new future guys, and
Mm-hmm.
they're looking to feel something too from you. When you're out there performing and applying your craft, they're looking to feel something. like they used to felt when they watched wrestling when they were a kid. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to bring that childlike love back to them in their hearts and like make them believe in whether you're the baby face or the heel or a betweener. You know what I mean? You got to do your job.
So what would you say is Rick Rose in the ring? Like, what would you say is your persona as a professional wrestler? What persona do you bring as you make your promos, as
I'm
you wrestle, etc.?
more like your rock star. Everyone runs and say, "Yo, you're like a rock star." Like so, I usually go with the rock star gimmick. I like if they don't if it's like a place like New Age Wrestling, which is they don't care about gimmicks like that. They want like a name versus a name. Then I'm just picture perfect Rick Rose. You know what I mean? Like
Okay,
I'm
perfect.
still a little showman, but babyface because 9 times out of 10, a lot of promotions have just a ton of heels and betweeners, and then maybe a few baby
Right.
faces.
Yeah.
Usually, the few baby faces are like champions and stuff like that. They already have a role, and then you come in and it's like, oh yeah, we need baby faces. It's like, oh, all
Mm.
right, well, Johnny trained me to be ready for anything, whether babyface, heel, tweener. It's whatever the promoter wants. If you ask me what I want, I would be a heel. It just be a lot easier to just work and do it for a long time. Who's gonna be a better babyface than me? In that locker room at that show, like who's really gonna get over? Whether unless they're a real name, like I come out and I look like a star, and then the guy behind me comes out and he looks like a jabroni. Who you think the fans are gonna cheer? They're gonna cheer me just because I look better. They didn't even see me
and you
wrestle.
and you look more established in the process. They're gonna
Right.
see you as a serious person, while the other person's kind of like, yeah, he's just there.
He's coming up. He's starting, and that's my job. Put him over or make a storyline out of it or something like that.
Depending on what
So
they want to do with him.
right.
So you've been
Because
wrestling for a while now, right? So
right.
like, have you had like a specific match or like an encounter that you say is at least one of your favorites? You don't have to pick like a top, but was there
One of
any
my
like specific match or
favorites.
like any competition with somebody?
I really liked that last match I had. I had a tag team match all the way in Springfield, last September 17th at Massachusetts.
Oh,
That tag team match was fun. I had a great time. We did. I think we stole the show from what the promoter told me. He was like, I think that was the best match. So I was like, oh, thank you. Every time I go out there, you're doing something new and you're in the moment. Like nothing beats in the moment. Like,
mhm.
yeah, I can go back and be like, yeah, that was a good match. Yeah, that was a good match. But it's always what I've done lately for me. Like, it's like, oh man, that last match I did was pretty good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we stole the show, and
Yeah.
from what I heard, we did. And then I heard good things like, oh, we want you back. And then they had like another promotion in Connecticut. They're like, oh, we want you over there. But I was like, I might be booked that day, but we'll see. Because now I'm getting busy. I'm getting hit
Yeah.
ups to just wrestle pretty much anywhere.
That's
Like
good.
in the indies and in the indies wise. Not in
That's
WWE
still
or
good though,
AEW, Ring of Honor.
regardless.
I'm working my way there, but yeah. Shout out EBW Pro. They were the first promotion to book me first. I tried to reach out to other people. They were like, "Hey, I want to see you more, and then I will bring you." You know what I mean? Which is understandable because I've
Yeah,
been
they're not
gone
gonna
for
give the like you first try, and they're like more
right.
established
I've
as
been
a
gone for a
promotion.
while. I've been gone for a while, and I owe it to myself to make the travel and go to these other states and the East Coast. Just learning different styles of wrestling. I feel like the New York. New Jersey is very like strong, stylish, fast pace, a lot of high spots. Where like PA or in Massachusetts, they're a little bit more like storyline,
They focus on
more
something
about
different.
they're more about the structure of the storytelling in the match than the actual moves and all these high spots. And I kind of like that too. So like I could do it, either one. And I love that wrestling is like this now because before it was just so like kind of plain everywhere, but now it's like there's so many diversity, like different genres, like it's music, it's like different
Right.
genres of
Yeah.
wrestling, and it's cool to dwell into different stuff. It's just you want to not just rush into everything, and you want to make sure you're being taken care of. You don't want to just go in there and get squashed by some guy who's over 100 pounds and you know what I mean? It's just like, come on, can I wrestle a guy more my size? What's going on here? So you just gotta feel the vibe when you go to these different places. And if you feel good, you feel safe, you feel like something can happen here, then you're in a good spot. But if you don't feel comfortable, you're the only Spanish guy in the locker room, and you're like, oh man, this is of course I'm not over tonight. Yeah, I'm getting squashed. Oh, okay, yeah, you might need to get out of there.
And there's nothing wrong
So,
with that either. It's like any other regular 9 to 5 job.
well,
It's like, if you feel like you're not wanted or like any kind of
right,
weird feeling you may get, your gut feeling, you know, there's nothing wrong with moving on to other things.
Like, it's good to do it, right? The fans see you, you get new recognition, right? But then go, like, move on, because there's
Yeah.
nothing there for you.
Yeah,
So
exactly. And that goes into another thing that you mentioned. It's like you're in New York and having to take that like time to travel to these places, to Connecticut, to Pennsylvania, to New Jersey, probably even upstate New York in the process. And it's like you're spending all that time traveling on the road. And like there's a lot of sacrifice in that time away from your loved ones, time away from things that are local to home, just to go over there for a day or so just to come back and
it's a
spending
whole
that
day.
time.
I tell them, man, I'm once it's this day, I'm busy the whole day. I'll see
Yeah.
you when I'm back.
So like if you're
So
going to get into wrestling like and you are serious about it and you see promotions want you, you have to take that sacrifice. There's no, oh, can you wait until something's in New York? Like, no, you got to go now. They want you.
don't half-ass it either. Go early. Be the
Mm-hmm.
first wrestler to show up. Put the initiative to help set up the
Mm-hmm.
ring, the entrance, the apron. You know, every little thing, the ropes, the chairs. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
any little thing they
It's
need
not
help
like
with.
it's not like WWE where they have a team that does that for these wrestlers and they just show up and do their show. Like you're actually a part of the production too, especially with the ring and stuff. I believe that's
Right.
what's called paying your dues, right? When you're in these is it something
That's
like that?
that's one of the terms of paying your dues. Yes, that's one way. But there's other ways of paying dues. You could be paying dues in the school you're in. You got to pay your dues. You got to
Right,
pay.
right.
You know what I mean. So there's different paying your dues. Yes, that is one way of paying your dues. Another way is actually going to different places and putting in the work.
Yeah.
That's paying your dues. That's really paying your dues. You're actually going
And you're getting
different
experience is
places.
experience and all that and showing that you
Win
know
or
that.
lose, you're going. You don't care. You're just going. You're talking your shit. You're doing what you got to do, and you're taking all bookings. You're taking all booking.
People see that.
That's literally one way to do it, but that's a harder way. Let's just. I'm not discrediting it at all. Well, like I know guys that are doing that. They're going anywhere they can, and they're just putting the name out there. Like you're doing what our trainers told us to do, but
Basically.
I still feel like if it's oversaturated and it's hot right now, then take your time.
Yeah, don't
Go
overwork
places.
yourself though.
Yeah,
That's
don't
the thing.
overwork yourself. You know, you want to do this for a long time, not a short time. So, and it'd be worse if you commit to these places and then you get hurt. And now they're like, "Hey, you got to come over." You can't. You're hurt. You're limping like this.
And it,
How am I gonna hit the ropes? How am I gonna do my job? I can't.
and it's a
So,
and then that's a shame if something happens and then you know god forbid that ring of honor message comes in, hey, you want to come in, you know, and then you kind of have to give them the bad news. So
right. If you
work
want to go
yourself.
to Ring of Honor, if you want to go to Ring of Honor, you want to go to TNA, AEW, you can just go. You can go right on their site. They pretty much have a recruitment. You email them. You send them a whole thing like what you're good at, how long you've been working, who you're trained by, how many
Mm-hmm.
years, how many matches you had, and then you want to send them a match, send them photos. You know, every little thing
Yeah.
to get them to like you. And you're really just doing all this to get a tryout. You know, hopefully they give you a tryout,
Well,
but you don't want to oversend
get to
things. You know, you want to be
everybody.
professional. So just every like couple of months you check on it. So
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's a business. Like, yeah, you can advertise yourself to these companies, but don't beg for it.
right,
Because
right.
then it seems like you're just desperate
There's
and
so
then
much opportunity, bro. Like WWE got their hands full right now. Like there's so many promotions, and even out the country. Like you can get booked overseas. Like
people do it all the time.
just
Australia, UK, Scotland, Ireland. There's a lot. And a lot of
Mhm.
these
If you
WWE
really want to go,
stars. A
if
lot
you really want to go, you just message them. I'm pretty sure if they like you, they'll pay for your ticket. You'll be in a dojo.
and that's also recognition, especially when you get in that like level of people know you now. Like then promotions are gonna be like, hey, can we have you? And it's like you're the big poster name. And Rick Rose featuring Rick Rose as the main event, but it comes with the
Slow and
work.
steady. Yeah, it comes with putting in the grind. Like right now, like I'm working in this one place at the Mecca, and they do shows there like once, twice, three times a month. They'll call me, hey, we got a show this day. Can you come help set up? And then they'll pay me to help set up the
Yeah.
ring, the entrance, the chairs, and we'll ask the other promotion that's doing a show that day if there's a spot available. If you guys need a wrestler, an extra wrestler to put somewhere, I'm your guy.
And that's how you get your foot in the
It,
door.
that's how you get your foot in the door. So now, like me traveling everywhere, like I don't really need to travel everywhere where I'm in a venue where all these big companies come to. So it's like the opportunity's there. I just got to put in the work,
Absolutely.
basically. Yeah.
So how can
And it's all
someone
about putting
get started in the business of
into the
wrestling?
business. It's who you know, but that's the easy way to put it. But if you put it, the research, you can join a school. Nowadays, there's so many schools. You can't really say what's the best school.
Right.
That comes down to like, what do you want? Do you want politics behind the school, or do you want just a school that's going to teach you what you need to know so you could do it? The ones with the politics cost more than the ones that's going to teach you to do it. But just know that it's an investment. You got to put yourself through the work. You can't just be a backyard guy and
Mm-hmm.
think you're going to get booked at a local indie show, unless it's like GTS wrestling or something, like where I feel like they're the kings of the backyard. You know what I mean?
I
So
actually know someone from GTS. Shout out to Ice T Curtis. You're the freaking man.
yeah, I'm not trying to talk shit. It's just like I was just watching one of their videos and I was like, yeah, they're more entertaining than the actual like the match. Let's just But
They
there's a
have a
lot
big
of guys I
following
know,
too.
like Rad Dad. Like I got to wrestle Rad Dad at ABW Pro at a battle royal. That was pretty cool.
Nice.
Like I'm not talking shit about like certain like the good ones are good, and then the ones that are like is like you gotta put in that work, guys. You gotta put in that work. I know y'all don't know psychology. You gotta learn that. You gotta put in the work and working out. You gotta work out. Why is that so hard? Go work out.
You can't be going in without doing one clothesline and you're out of shape.
It's bad when like you're trying to like you're backstage and like you're trying to write the match and you're like, hey, like okay, we're gonna lock up and we'll do something simple. Put you in an arm wrench and then you're gonna reverse that into a headlock and then we're gonna do a universal spot. Then they look at you and go, what's a universal spot?
It sounds like me right now. What is a universal spot?
It's simple structure in a match where like when the guy puts him in the headlock and he pushes him off the ropes and then he comes back, hits him with the shoulder block and he says something to the crowd like, I'm better than this guy.
Okay.
And then he hits the rope, he does the drop down, the leapfrog, the drop kick. All of that is called a universal spot. And if they don't know, and that's just a basic one. That is a basic one. So if they don't know simple shit, stuff like that, it's like, how do I work with a guy that
Because essentially you're putting on a show with this person. You
right,
gotta
right.
choreograph it in a way where you both
You gotta choreograph
understand
it, but you gotta make sure what we're doing in that ring is right.
right and
Can't just
safe.
go in there and just plan whatever.
Yeah,
Can't do
it's
that.
not
It has to make
impromptu. It's not. I mean,
Yeah,
some
you have
parts
to have
can be, but not
structure.
everything.
You have to have real structure. You have to tell a story,
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not doing that, if you, there's no like like I said, the chain wrestling to the universal to the high spot, and then get cut off, then build the heat, which is the
Mm-hmm.
most important part. Build that heat, which is like the crowd
Yeah, yeah.
trying to get into it, and you put in the beats on that baby face. Supposed to make those people believe that when he comes back, he's coming back with the only fire and that intensity that you
Exactly.
want to see. And that's called the comeback spot. When he does this comeback spot, it leads into the finish or the false finish. And that's a simple match. Like all that I just said is a simple
It's in
match. It's like
stages. It's in stages.
maybe 8, 10, 12-minute match right there. And the promoter's happy. You're happy. You did you did your job. You look like a professional. And now other people are seeing it because it's getting everywhere. Oh man, this match is pretty good. Now promoters are like, yeah, I've seen you before. I want to book you. I want to see
Exactly.
what you could really do. You know what I mean? So it's all about putting in that work because they're gonna see it. Like they're not gonna book you if they don't like you. They have to like. They have to
Yeah.
at least like what you're doing in that ring. And promoters, most of them, know actually how to wrestle. Most of them, not all of them,
Mm-hmm.
but most of them know actually how to wrestle. And I respect the ones that actually know like the psychology. So like you're a promoter, you understand like the storytelling. It's not all about the moves.
The moves
Especially if you're
help,
gonna.
but they're not the
Hey,
main thing.
you're really supposed to do like 5, 6 moves in a match. And those 5, 6 moves are supposed to be like your bread and butter. Those are the moves that get you over.
Signature moves. Signature
Right. You have a move set. Let's just say you have a move set. I
move
want to
set.
say
Yeah.
signature because your signature is more like right after your comeback. You hit him with your signature, and then it goes into the finisher. Like John Cena. Remember when he does his comeback?
Yeah.
He hit you
Five
with
knuckle shuffle. Yep.
shoulder block. Then you throw the punch.
Mm.
He hits you with his signature. Boom. You can't see me. Hits you. Then into his
And
finish
then the
or a false
finisher.
finish. Right. Whatever they wrote that night. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's got to make sense. And if you're not, that's why John gets a lot of props because he has his actual structure. Like
And just being
yeah.
easy to work with, or knowing how things work in the ring as you choreograph with your partner, essentially.
Right. You want to bring the best out of your opponent, like what he's good at, and you want to bring the best out of you, but like make it make sense. Like where
Mm-hmm.
y'all both tell a great story, y'all both look cool, y'all both get over. You don't gotta make your opponent look weak because this is not a shoot. You know what I mean? This is a work. Why are you gonna make the person that's gonna make you look good look weak? Then he's gonna question everything. He's gonna be like, oh well, this is my last match here. I'm
Yeah, because
getting
then
treated like shit.
they
I'm working at 100, and this guy is like, we're trying to bring me down. Like it's like, what the hell is going on, bro?
there has to be a
We're supposed to
mutual
work together.
respect. There has to be a mutual
Right.
respect to the
Right.
craft, because at the end of the day, you both are trying to do a job, but you're also trying to help each other out in the process, whether your opponent's trying to put you over or vice versa, but do it in a way where both of you will be recognized for your talents no matter what. And like losing doesn't always mean like, oh, they're gonna forget about you.
Oh, yeah.
It's about how you are in the ring, because then if they see someone lose but they got that talent, they're still gonna be on their side. Like people lose their titles all the time in WWE. You think now Damian Priest is gonna be a jobber? Hell no. Now they're really on his side because of that. And based on how the storylines are written, or like how the story was told in the ring, it might actually be better to lose than it would be to win.
Right. I mean, look at me. Look at me as an example. You know, I came back and I lost every match, but all that did was give me more opportunity, and I still got over.
Exactly.
Like I was still making fans. I was still getting over. I was getting booked other places. Now I'm going to other states. Now I'm waiting for Loud East Wrestling. Like now I'm consistently booked. It's like now I'm looking like
Mm.
they want to do things with me. Like a lot of people want to do things with me because they see like, okay, he came, he took the L, he put whoever over. He didn't complain about it. He, got paid to do it. That was cool. That was
Yeah.
something new for me. Like, hey, that's great. And but it's another thing when you steal the show. Like you go in there, you're stealing the show. That's another. You're doing your job. You're doing what the promoter wants. That's the most important. It's not really about you. It's about what he
Yeah,
wants
they're the
or
business
she.
decision makers at the end of the day.
Yeah. They choose how they want you to lose, win, da 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 da. So you do the best incorporation of the storytelling of what they want, and they're gonna
Right.
love you. They're gonna love you because you're doing what they want and more. You're over it, so it's
It's
like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? And it's a business, so like they see like, oh, you got some clout too. Oh man, that just makes the promotion look better. It makes you look good. Like the things is circulating. People are subscribing, following, liking, commenting, getting engaged into the story. They love that. They want to see people engage into the story. That just shows like, oh man, people are invested in this way of life of
it's
wrestling,
it's
pro
like
wrestling.
it's like the movie industry with the director. The director's the one that directs the actors and doing their scenes and stuff, but they also have producers that create the movie
They
itself,
wrote
the
they wrote
script.
the whole script, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's the director's job to just
Make sure
bring it
the
to life,
actors are
like
doing it. Yeah,
guide
exactly.
these right, yeah, guide them to doing it the right way,
They
how I want it.
I'm a big fan of The Sopranos, and I recently saw the Sopranos documentary from HBO Max. And James Gandolfini, he actually went off script a lot of times in the show because he really got into his character.
Character.
Like, there was times where like even little tiny scenes that you would see, like in the Bada Bing strip club, he would go into the refrigerator to get a beer. There was one time where he slammed the door to the point where the door fell off.
Wow.
The director told him, I only told you to just shut the door like a little like violently. I didn't say to rip it open. But it was still good where it ended up on TV anyway. When you
Yeah, I
go above
mean,
and beyond like that, they see that, and that goes into wrestling with being a professional
definitely.
wrestler. They see that and they're
Yeah,
like, oh shit.
there's a lot of improv that goes on into professional wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
100%, because you're working with a live studio audience, and a vet would tell you pick on the crowd, right? But you really want to pick on people that are really into it, like like a fan, not like a
Yeah,
heckler. Don't pick on a heckler because they're just
they're just
gonna
gonna
keep
start stuff.
heckling.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just gonna keep heckling. So like pick on like, well, I wouldn't say pick on, but put your energy towards that one person who's really engaged into that match. They're clapping every time you want them to clap, cheering every time you want them to cheer. They're booing every time they don't want to see something. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Focus on that. That's what's gonna get you. Because they're all gonna see, like, oh man.
You see that one
And then
person is like
that
invested,
one person
that's
is
gonna
gonna be like,
spread.
wow, I have such a say in a match. When really, like, no, you don't. Made you believe that. I made you believe
But
that,
that's the
but
illusion.
that's the illusion. Exactly. Exactly. They felt something that night.
And they
So.
probably told their wife or kids, like, yo, like that person, Rick Rose, he was really getting
Mhm.
my face. Like, I thought he was gonna fight. Like, you were part of the show, you were part of the production, and
Like I
that's what
told
they
him
want you to
boo, and then
feel.
like
Or like you
I
try to
told
make
him
them
boo, and
flinch or
then like he
something.
slapped a drink out of my hand. He
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
"Boo that." You know what I mean? Like
And
stuff
he'll
like
remember
that is
that.
great, man. Oh,
And
he's gonna remember that forever,
it's
forever, forever.
and
Every time he sees me, that's the first thing he's gonna remember. Oh man, this guy just slapped. Yeah, wow, what a great moment.
Like, remember you swiped my drink, and then he's gonna be doing the
I'm
same
gonna be
thing.
like, yeah, and I'm gonna be like, brother, and this is after the show. I'm like, brother, it's all a work, you know, like
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
show,
And
you know,
and
like I
I
don't know what to
hope the
tell you.
audience understands that it is part of the show, like not getting
Right.
legit offended, but
I
like
would say like
it's
more
nice
than
when you see
half.
that respect
I would
afterward.
say more than half know that it's a work and it's a show, and then the other like 25%, 20%, they're trying to figure out if it's real or not. Like,
Mhm.
you know, it depends on like who's working in the ring, because you can have some really solid guys in there or girls, and they're just you just can't tell. Like, man, that looks really good. It looks like a real competition in there.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
that's
the beauty of
you know,
professional wrestling, is that it is the
you,
only profession where there is a very thin line in what is real and what is not, and what is storyline and what is like legit real. And you
right.
can use that to your advantage to really feed on the crowd on what they think is really going on. Like, I remember as a kid, when Vince McMahon went into the limo
Oh
when
God.
it blew up, I was like, "Yo, did he die?" Like,
Yeah, a lot of
I
people
went on
did.
Wikipedia right away. I was like, did it say he died? And like, I'm sure so many people did. Apparently, people in the audience called the fire department when it happened because they thought he really
Oh,
something happened. They explained how like they did it and like later on, but
I
like it
know.
was a serious situation at the moment.
I know Paul London got in trouble that night for smiling.
Oh, when he was walking, right? When Vince was walking to the back. Damn. It's like we already knew what was gonna happen. It made it seem like Vince like had lost everything. So I get it.
Yeah, and he was I don't know. Like from what I heard, they didn't really amazing talent. They just didn't want to really do anything with you because you're a little guy. So it's like
Mhm.
little guy syndrome, like us. There's just nothing there for us, really.
Yeah.
At that time, now things change, but you know, it all comes down to the wrestler nowadays. I hope. But nowadays, you got guys that are just paying their way for the glory. They're paying for the glory. So, what do you think
Money
about
talks.
that?
Money talks.
I mean, I get whatever keeps the lights, the bills running.
Listen, at the
You
end
know,
of
if you
the
get
day, unfortunately, there's politics in any kind of industry, and some people feel like they're above that and above and beyond. So money does talk, unfortunately. But at the
yeah,
end of the
people are
day,
paying for their run.
but at the end of the day,
See,
the
that was
audience
never
determines
really a
that.
thing. That was never really a thing when I wrestled. Back in the day, if someone was doing that, they were like the world champ and that's it. You know what I mean? But nowadays, these guys are doing it and they're going to different places and doing it there too. And like, what happened to just doing it in one place and then, you know, working your
Yeah,
way? Now it's like, no, if it's an option, I'm taking it. Like, oh
yeah.
my God. Yeah, wrestling's funny, man. It's changed, but you know, that's the business, right? Money talks, right? It's about the money.
No one's getting paid. Are they really doing it unless it's their like legit passion?
You know, but we understand that now, right? So now that we know that, we got to be the next ones up to do that, right?
So you mentioned part of what people should do to get into the wrestling business is, you know, going to the gym, getting fit. Like I kind of said, like you don't want to be out of shape after one clothesline. What does your workout routine look like when you're preparing for a show? Like what does your workout regimen look like, or even your diet, if there is a diet that you run when you do it?
I try to just eat light. Like I stay away from like pork. I
Okay.
take like vegetable vitamin. I drink like milkshakes to stay bulky a little bit
Yeah.
because I'm just naturally like slim. I try to bulk up a little bit, but work out. So when I work out, I got my weights. I do curls. I do tries. I do a lot of calisthenics too. So I'll do some pull ups, chin up, push up, and then what I do is I go for walks. But also,
Walks are
I
good
also
too.
skate. Yeah, walks are
Okay.
great. But I also skateboard too. So like, I have like a longboard slash skateboard. It's like a hybrid.
Yeah.
And I'll just hit the park trail, and I'll go a couple miles there back. That works on my abs, my leg, and I'll switch feet too. I'm not just doing
Yeah.
it on one side, you know. So I'll switch feet.
Ambidextrous.
Right. I'm trying to get it on both sides. So
That's good though.
yeah.
I used to skateboard back when I was like a teenager, and I'm left-handed. So like a little fun fact for everybody watching, I am left-handed. So my left foot goes in the front,
Oh,
and I would always go and like push with the right, and I would always go down the FDR Drive from where I live, because I used to live in East Harlem, back down, and I would go down to like the Upper East Side, you know, 90s and 80s and all that. And it's a workout, man. It's definitely a workout. I would be sweating bullets by the time I'm done like pushing my board down to the end. It's not just like people just traveling New York and just doing it as a mode of transportation. It's a workout, especially for
It's
your
a hell of a
legs.
workout. Hell of a workout, especially if you're doing tricks too. Like that's like a whole nother workout.
That's that's a
But
whole other thing.
yeah, that's a whole nother thing. But just cruising, I won't even say just cruising, but really coasting. Like you're really like kicking and pushing. You gain, then you catch your breath, then you go and kick and push again. Like that shit, it builds your stamina up. It helps your core, helps your
Mm-hmm.
legs, your knees. Very important. Very important
Mm-hmm.
because it helps your balance too. Your balance. Gotta have
You need to
balance.
stay,
So
especially when you're leaning to turn and all that. Like you gotta know how to do that
if
correctly
you
and
want to hop
safely.
the curb too, you want to ollie the curb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like little things like that. Like that's it's a workout. And I also play sports. So I'll play handball like a true Puerto Rican.
Damn, I haven't played in so long. I was just speaking about this with my fiance too. I was like, I
I'm
haven't
nice at
played
handball.
handball in a
You see how
long
big my
time.
hands are? See how
From
big my hand?
slapping,
Anyway, I'm nice. I
I
can do the
miss
backhand. I can go with the left, the right. Like
I
I'm
miss that
nice.
so much.
I'm
Such a good
nice.
time. Such a-
I also play basketball. I played football in high school. I don't play it no more because now it's like I'm not really trying to get hurt. Oh, and softball. I play softball with my pops because he still
Okay,
plays.
nice.
He's on like 3 softball teams.
Oh wow,
So
that's awesome.
yeah, he's still playing. He's like in his 50s, like
Hell yeah.
still going. So I'll be like, all right, well, I know I can still go probably at his age. He'll invite me to come play with his team. Like, oh, we're gonna be over here. We're gonna do pickups. I'm like, all right, good workout, little softball. So I try to stay active, man. You know, when it comes to working out, I
And
really
it's
do.
part of your investment too. Like stay invested. The product that you're promoting is your body. Your brain mentally, your muscles physically. Now you don't have to be the most biggest jacked freaking Braun Strowman Scott Steiner out there, but
Right.
you do need to stay in shape where you can have great stamina for your matches. It's not going to look good when you are super jacked, but then like you're like, I can't even lift this
Right.
guy. Holy crap.
Or
And
you
then,
could lift him, but like as soon as you do the move, you're like blown up. Like
yeah,
you're like,
that's
oh
it.
shoot. Ooh.
After that one lift.
Yeah, you got to make sure you have stamina. Like that's like one of the key. I say for all the new guys that are like trying to learn how to be wrestlers, try to learn the 555 drill. That's the best thing for your stamina core drill. Basically, you're hitting the ropes
And those rips hurt.
180. Those ropes hurt. Especially like it depends on the ropes too. So if you have like cable ropes, they're a little bit better.
Okay.
But if you have like rope, yeah, they hurt a little bit more. But it all depends on like if it's tight. If it's too tight, then yeah, they hurt. If they're just right and you hit it right, if you hit, that's the thing. Everything hurts, right?
Right.
But if you do them right,
They hurt
they don't hurt.
less.
Well, they hurt very, very less, but they don't hurt.
Yeah.
Like really, like I'll take a bump, I'll be good, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had a guy training. I think he's been working for like 2, 3 years, relatively new, right? Probably going on his fourth year now. But I remember he told me he's like, when I take a bump, it hurts. I'm like, what? That's not. You're not. In my head, I'm thinking like you're not bumping right then. Like you're
It's
doing
like
something
form
wrong.
for a workout. You got to do the right form, otherwise you're risking injuring your body. If you're doing
Right. And I was
military
talking to.
presses, you can't be
I don't know if
holding
you
it
know
like
who.
that or something.
Right, right. I was talking to Prince, DB, Johnny Ross guy. I was talking to him about it. I was like, bro, like when you bump, it don't hurt, right? Like I got to hear it from someone else. And he's just like, yeah, it doesn't hurt. I'm like, okay, cool. Like I had to hear it from someone else because like I bump, it don't hurt because I'm
You
doing it the
start
right way.
doubting, you're like, wait a minute, like, am I doing it right? Like, because it's not
In my head,
hurting.
I know I'm doing it right because I'm not getting hurt. Like
Yeah.
he's telling me he's getting hurt from some bum. It's like,
Or his tolerance to
how?
pain is
Like
super high or whatever.
it's gotta be. It's gotta be. Well, that's when I say like this guy was relatively green, because you're telling me it hurts. It hurts when you
You
bump,
do the bump, yeah.
and then when he threw like a punch, like to my like stomach, like he tagged me. Like I had a little black and blue. I'm like, what the hell? Are we
So
wrestling? Or are we really
we were
fighting? What's going on?
fighting.
So yeah, that just goes down to he's relatively new, so he's still trying to find his way. And there's a lot of guys that are out now that are like that one dude, in AEW, the Australian guy. What's that guy's name again?
Kyle Fletcher?
No, Will Ospreay, right?
Oh, Osprey. He's from UK guy, yeah.
Everybody wants to wrestle like him.
'Cause he's hyped up as like, yo, he puts on banger matches, and he does.
It's a If you ask me though, it's a little too much. He is an amazing athlete,
1000%.
but he's doing way too much. Like if you ask me.
Maybe it's part of the gimmick. I mean, it's gotten him
Part
where
of
he
his
has
act,
now.
maybe. If that's, I guess that's the new act right there, and that's gonna be it until what? Until he gets hurt, and then what's gonna happen? He's not gonna do that again. He's gonna have to change up his whole act.
I think AEW also allows for that difference in like between WWE and AEW. I feel like the AEW allows more freedom like that. All these tiger drivers are insane compared to what WWE would never at the moment because of all those banned moves that they have.
I do a tiger driver. I do like a sit down tiger driver. I think I'm safe with that move, but that's me though.
Yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean? I
you.
can't.
But then the next
I can't
person might
really,
be
and I
like,
wouldn't do it to anybody. I wouldn't do it to like any big guy, you know. Like I would only do it to a guy that I can actually pick up and
and you feel
so on my
comfortable
side.
with, and you feel comfortable with too.
Right,
You can't
right.
just be
And I
anybody
know
either.
I'm gonna take care of him. I know the move is gonna be good. I know I'm gonna get popped while doing it. Like, and I've done it. You know, it's a difference between like saying, "Oh, I want to do this spot," but you never did it before.
Yeah.
And then someone like me, like I've done the spot before. I've heard the pop from it. I
And
get a reaction from it.
this is how
Yeah,
you
like
do it, XYZ.
so. Yeah, you know, you gotta put in that work. You gotta put in
So
that work. You gotta know what your move. Like, if you've been wrestling for more than 5 years and you don't know what moves get you over by now, like, what are you
something's up.
doing?
Something's up.
Like, what are you doing? You should know like what moves get you over, and those are the moves you should be sticking to. And try find different ways to do it. That's your act. That's everybody's act.
And
You
that's where
know?
some people end up just throwing in the towel because they can't find themselves, or
Right.
they're not thinking outside the box to what could really go over with the crowd versus what's like kind of just standard, I guess you would say. Kind of like just doing what's needed of your act, but not making something out of it for yourself.
Or not having any originality. Like
Originality, yeah.
maybe
Personality.
maybe like your act is good, but when it comes down to your actual wrestling, like there's nothing that stands you out. Like there's no big move you have, there's no cool flashy move you have. There's no even the psychology is vanilla, like it's very plain.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, like where do you really stand out? Because the DDT and the super kick, everybody does that.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
You got to put a
And
unique spin to
don't
it.
say Canadian Destroyer, please. Don't say that.
Yeah, everybody's
Oh
been
my
doing that
goodness.
now, and it's because
Oh, everybody.
I remember it was just Petey
Everybody's been doing
Williams
it.
when it was just
I
Petey
swear, if someone
Williams.
says, "Yo, I'm gonna do the Canadian Destroyer," I'm gonna reverse it to a back body drop. Like, get out of here. Did you see that Williams match, NXT and Pete?
I did not. That was yesterday, right? I
Yes.
did not see it. No.
It was like a last man stand. It was good. Like I liked how like they worked them. They started the match like into the brawl. They didn't do no
Yeah.
chain, no
Got
universal. They just went right into the
the
brawl. I'm
fighting.
going outside. We're doing moves. Right. And then eventually like they end up getting on like the stage and then like they fall off
That's what I saw.
into like
That's the spot I saw on Instagram because that's
yeah,
where
they
I usually
fall
see
off into
the
the
clips.
table
Yeah.
and Pete couldn't get up. And Williams is trying to get up. Then Pete's partner comes towards him and he gives him a back body drop while he's trying to get up. Because the
Wow.
ref is counting to 10. The ref is counting to
Yeah.
10.
Last man standing.
And then right when he got to 10, that's when like Williams just got up. And when the other dude came charging towards him, because it's a last man standing, there's
Yeah.
no
He
rules,
technically
so he
was.
can
Yeah. It
just
was technically was up.
he
Yeah.
could hit him. He could technically get, like hit him,
No
and that'd be the
DQ.
match. So he used his momentum to just back body drop him into the announce table. I thought that was great ending, like a great storyline. I was like, wow, good stuff. The new guys in WWE, a lot of them are trained by I know there's like I forgot who's the performance center trainer there, but it's someone who's been in WWE for years, right? It's a couple, and you could tell like they worked with them for years to get that psychology down, and it's like it's showing. It's showing these
And sometimes
guys.
it takes time too,
It
and
does. It
experience
does.
doing it.
If
You
you
have to
ask me,
fail
it takes.
sometimes.
If you ask me, it takes like I feel like close to 2 years to really understand, the psychology to the drills and getting in shape. And it really does take some time. Like you really, because your body
Mm.
has to adapt too to the abuse that you're gonna be having to take, and then it has to build up like that calluses back so you can hit those ropes. So it's not
Yeah. So it
bad
doesn't
on
hurt
you.
as much. Yeah.
Right, right. You have to build that up. That takes a couple of weeks if you're going every week, a couple of months if you're going every other couple of weeks. But it takes time. You have to really put in the work. And that's what I tell guys. Like you really have to dedicate yourself. Live, breathe wrestling.
You ever seen the Triple H video from like the 90s where he's teaching the Tough Enough contestants and he's like, you take a bump, you take a bump? It's the speech for me that explains what it takes to be a professional wrestler, whether you're WWE or not, being on the road.
And look who he's trained by. He's trained by Killer Kowalski, a legend.
Wow. That I didn't know. That's really freaking awesome.
A legend. So he's somebody that's really telling you, like, he's a real professional telling you guys, like, when I hit you, I want you to really like sell that bump.
Yeah,
Like I
like when he
really
was doing the
knocked you.
flinch and all that.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah, he was like, "Well, you better not sell for me like that." You know what I mean? He was really upset that these guys. The thing about the Tough Enough show, they were all green. They were all green. No one had like real experience in pro wrestling. They were just so I
That
don't
was
know
like,
how you expect them to learn so fast.
yeah.
Because like I said, I think it takes like 2 years really to really find yourself, your ground, your moves, and they did that in the course of a couple months. Making Maven the Tough Enough
Yeah.
winner, and then they took their time. They took care of him. They threw him in the Rumble. He had a little spot with Taker. Then that
he
leads,
eliminated Taker.
you know, right, and that led to the hardcore rivalry match, which is perfect because if you can't wrestle, usually guys that can't wrestle do what? They use weapons because they can't wrestle. So you threw him right in a good spot where they can take care of him.
Yeah.
But it's still a little dangerous because you're using weapons. But that's it is what it is. I mean, wasn't Matt Cardona in the Tough Enough as well, and he lost. He was in the first
wasn't
season.
that the Miz? I think that was the Miz.
I think the Miz was like the third
Or
season.
no, yeah, something like that.
And Matt had the better career, even though maybe had a great start, but it was Matt Striker who had a better career.
At the end of the day, it goes back down to what Triple H said. Are you in it for the passion of the professional wrestling, or are you here for the money and fame because you see all that crowd, you see all the money you can make? And a lot of people end up just backing out because of that, whether you were on Tough Enough or whether you're just like, hey, I want to be a wrestler, I'll go to this school, and then you realize, holy shit, this bump actually, like, it actually hurts to fall, or the ropes are bothering my back after like running for a little bit. It really takes a toll and will break you if you were not serious from this jump. You might be serious at the time, but you gotta really love it. So
you gotta love getting beaten up. You gotta love working. Getting that heat. Like someone like me, I'm usually a babyface. So our best time to shine is the very beginning, and then the comeback, and then whether it's the finish or false finish. So that's where baby faces shine. Where heels shine is
being
the
the
heat.
bad guy.
Sometimes, being the bad guy, but sometimes if you're like a technical wrestler, you can do some technical stuff in the beginning, so you can get over too as a heel. But it depends on your act, because if you're just more of a cheater, then you just let the babyface do whatever, and then you cut him off. But it all depends on your act. But there's ways where even the heel can get over in the beginning, and then the heel really gets over in the heat, because that's when he's really beating the crap out of you, however y'all wrote it. When he makes that crowd want the good guy, the babyface, to come back, and the fans are really behind, that's when like you have a really good heel, because he generated all this heat for you. And it's like, man, you gotta love a good heel. There's a lot of guys out there that are really good. I would love to work, but I don't have the powers that be.
The production powers, the booker powers,
not
and all
yet.
that.
God forbid, but not yet.
So where can people find your matches if they wanted to see what you do?
See it on YouTube. You can watch the matches on YouTube.
Okay. If anything,
they can check it out.
If anything,
just put Rick Rose. Just put Rick Rose wrestling, and I'm sure there'll be a bunch of different videos from the past to the future. Not to the future, to the present.
To the future. So for everybody watching, I'll be putting those links in the description, his YouTube channel and all that. So if y'all want to check it out, y'all are more than welcome to. So speaking of that, we are midway through the podcast. Before we continue with the conversation, once again, big shout out to you for pulling up today, Rick. I also want to give a big shout out to our sponsor of tonight's episode of the Laying It Down podcast, Deuce and Baby Deuce. Together, this father-son duo have created some pretty awesome WWE content on TikTok, Instagram, and wherever you get all of your social media at. Everything from reacting to the upcoming Raw, SmackDowns, and everything of that nature. So even talking about WWE 2K, 2K25 is coming up very soon, so you will see him reacting and showing off gameplay of that as well. You're going to love what they do. Check out their merchandise over on ProWrestlingTees, which will be in the description down below, and alongside their TikTok and Instagram pages. So make sure to give them a follow. Shout out to Deuce and Baby Deuce for sponsoring tonight's video. We're going to shift things a little bit from the professional wrestling side of things to the current WWE product for the remainder of this episode. So speaking of WWE, I want to know your thoughts on the current product and if there's any specific storylines that stick out to you. Now, I'm sure a lot of people think, Bloodline, Judgment Day, all that stuff. Is there anything, do you like any of those, or what are your thoughts on things going on right now in WWE?
I mean, I like WWE. I always gonna like WWE. I always like the way they write their matches, especially for the pay-per-views, not really the live shows, because, time gets cut and a 15-minute match gets put down to like 10 or 8. And last minute, you can tell, like, oh man, they just shortened everything into one. And sometimes they don't even get to sell certain moves because they're already moving on to the next spot. But other than that, like, I like what they're doing. I like that they're doing stuff with the new people, the young talent. That's like the most important to me. Like, they're not just sticking with the same Kool-Aid like what they were doing to us in 2015, 2013. They were giving us the same Kool-Aid. Was never really a fan of that. I like to be surprised. Certain things, like you said, what I appreciate, like what storylines speak to me more. I like what the Judgment Day and stuff is doing, you know, with Dom and all these guys, and what's going on with Ripley and Damian Priest. I like that Damian was our world champion and he lost it.
Same.
You know, I was watching a lot, you know, really watching. Now I'm like, who's the champ now?
Gunther.
Good wrestler.
He's
good
fantastic.
wrestler.
He's fantastic. I freaking love him. And he's funny
Yeah.
as a heel talking shit too. When he was talking shit about Damian Priest, like, you know, the street trash thing, it was funny because, like, you know, he's trying to act like he's better than literally everybody in that whole arena. Obviously, Damian Priest came from different upbringings and stuff, and unfortunately he's dealt with a lot in his life, but it's just wild to see how far Gunther will go.
Yeah, he's a good heel, man. Really good. I like the way he works. He's a little stiff, but he packs a punch. Like,
Those
what do you want
chops.
from the guy? He's a big guy. Like,
those chops,
he's
man.
Those chops, indeed. Like, he chops the sweat off you. So
the skin off, man. I think even his last match with Randy Orton was doing the slaps back to his chest, and you saw some of, like, the next week you still saw like scabs on Gunther from the bleeding of those chops. It's wild.
Oh yeah, I went home with handprints on my chest, and I'm just, you know, and it was there for like a day or two, and I'm like, damn, he really got me. But, you know, like, after, you know, it's part of the game,
That's
man.
all part of
Like,
it, yeah.
I'd rather get that than a real serious injury, you know, like,
of course,
any
yeah.
day. If that's what you bring to the table as in terms of like the intensity, and this is what people came to see, I'm okay with that. I could take that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll take it. I'll bump, make it even look even more devastating. You know what I mean? So, but I think differently. Like, someone like him, it's like he's way bigger than me. So, like, every little move, even a chop, I would kind of oversell it just to make it more better. Really show the crowd, like, yeah, this guy got power.
Yeah,
so,
and I think that's what Gunther does too when it comes to trying to be that superior guy versus just trying to use just the chops. So it's like his finishers is just a power bomb if you think about it, honestly. But the fact that you can see Gunther doing a regular power bomb and already to see him do it and think, okay, this is over. You know that something's up with him.
When you ask me, that power bomb is the least of your worries when it comes to his match.
Well,
that's the least of your worries.
Of course.
That's the least of your worries. There's just so many other moves, the chops, the clotheslines. He'll even kick you on your back. Like,
yeah,
that's what you need to worry about.
You don't care.
Yeah.
It's those little shots that are gonna eventually pile up into
he grinds you. He grinds
into
you.
that power bomb. And just seeing his transformation too gives me a lot of respect for him because of how he was as Walter with NXT UK up until now. It's just like, this man cares. That's what I get from it. He cares about his physical well-being and the company and the business. Wants to show. That's why he's been champion for 76% of his career in WWE. NXT UK champion, Intercontinental, and now the world title. Like, he's not leaving that title for a while.
Yeah, he's solid. I mean, is his promos really good? You like his promos? You think he's the best talker? Or no?
He's all right in the mic. Like, I like the insults, but they're kind of like just like shots fired rather than like I'm listening to the entire promo and I'm like deeply invested, if that makes sense.
I know back in the day Vince didn't like any of the accents, but now it's a different game.
It's a different time, and also it's a global company. It makes people relate to it more. You go to Germany, Ludwig Kaiser, freaking German, so he's relating to the crowd. Gunther at the kickoff show was speaking fluent German to Michael Cole and to the crowd, even though he's from Austria. A lot of that, you need that now, especially as a business, to really push as a company. You wouldn't even think WWE could be even more famous than it is now. Nope. Go to these other crowds in Europe. Go to Australia. Go to all these places. See how crazy that crowd gets, because they have been starved of this content live in their faces in person for so long.
They were going crazy.
Berlin, France, San Juan last year they set it off. They
Puerto
started
Rico
it.
went crazy. I thought the roof was gonna tear down. Honestly, that's how loud they were.
They started it, and now then France delivered after that. Now Berlin, Scotland did good too. They're all just following suit. And then you go to Little Rock, Arkansas, and they're like, yeet, yeet. Little crowd, small crowd. They don't do much, but it makes us appreciate the other crowds.
It does. It's a grind, man. That's why having those overseas guys are very important, because when you do those world tours, you got those are the baby faces now.
Yeah,
And
well, it doesn't matter
they're
whether
the
they are.
heels in America, but once they over there, they're the baby faces.
Yeah,
So
and sometimes it's cool to like the heels more than the baby face because you want to see them perform and go wild.
you want to see them do something, whatever their act is. Whether it's like even Eddie did some high spots, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like he did the frog splash as his finish. You know what I'm saying? He'll jump out the ring, he'll jump in the ring, and he was a bad guy. He was a good guy that tell you he was going to cheat.
Yeah, he'll slam the chair on the floor, hand it to you, and
Right.
tell the ref, "Look what he did to me."
I like that. I might bring that back.
It's very unique, and I haven't seen anybody else do that in a while. At least somebody I can think of at the top of my head right now, and that's what gives Eddie's character.
Some people there's some guys they try to bring it back, but they're just doing it wrong. They're not really looking at how he set it up. He set it up. If you watch the way he set it up, it would always be in a way where like the ref got hit or something, and he's down, and then he wouldn't just go for the chair right away. He would look at the hard cam and do his smirk like,
oh, but then you kind of know what's happening next.
After that, you knew because he's smiling. That's his act. He's going to go get the chair and he's going to go cheat or get the title and cheat. But that was his act. That's why he smiled at the hard cam because he's letting the people know, like okay.
He'll open his eyes and be like...
Every time. He did that every time.
Mm-hmm.
He tried to you could see like he tried to make it a thing. It didn't catch on, but obviously it didn't catch on to the wrestlers because fans don't do good with mimic. Like you're mimicking someone else, like the fans don't, some of them do. The ones that easily get programmed do, but the ones that are like diehard fans and they see wrestling all the time, you're not gonna win them over because they've seen that already. They seen that last week. They seen that last weekend,
or they saw it
and
online.
they seen someone do it better than. Can you imagine? Like they seen someone do it better than you. You're gonna do the same exact spot, and it's not better. It's like you think he's gonna really like you.
It's about the originality at the end of the day. Like you can do the spot kind of like Eddie, but try to make it different. Don't copy one word for word or move for move.
Put your flavor to it.
Yeah.
Put your flavor to it. They don't got to be exactly the same. Like, yes, you could be a great athlete like this person. You could do the 450 and shooting star, but you don't got to do that. Like, you could do something else. You can make something new.
You don't got to do the craziest moves because, like, yeah, people are doing it. It's like content creation at the end of the day. Like, there's a lot of us reacting to the same Raw, SmackDown, NXT, TNA, and all that. We're all reacting to it. The big streamers, like, you know, myself. The way you get over is when your personality is in it and it's unique. We're all watching Roman Reigns come back. Anybody can see that or look at it on YouTube. But what makes them want to look at you instead? That's what it comes down to.
You want to stand out. And here's nothing, like you're already there hours before the show. You already know who's going to be on the card.
Who's competing? Yeah, what do they do? Or at least do some research on them.
What moves. You already know what moves this guy's going to do. You know what that guy is going to do. You know what that guy is going to do. There's no way that you can't figure out where you can make your own stand out. The main event is two heavyweight guys, and what are they not going to do? They're not going to do any high flying spots. If the co-main event is a tag team match, what are they not going to do?
You gotta make it so when they leave that arena, they're like, "Yo, did you see Rick Rose do that? Like 550 to 630 Vikingo does? Like you saw what he did, or something? Just as an example, just like." Something that they're not going to see again.
I went to one show in PA, 3WA. I noticed that there was like no high flyers in that show. So what do? I do the simple high fly spot. After the Universal, I jump out the ring and the guy catches me and stuff. I end up stealing the show because no one did that. No one did that night.
Otherwise, it's just cookie
cutter. I'm not saying that the whole match wasn't bad or good. The whole match was good, actually. But it's just certain spots. It's like the rest of the card didn't do. They didn't do that. So I did it. And that's what made me stand out. But it's also like the storytelling in the ring. The fans see that you're putting 100% into it. The acting, like you said, the improvness, because there's always going to be some improv in there. The people see that. They want to see that character come out. Even if it is improv, they're like, oh, shoot, this guy can be put on the spot and he's ready. Like, whether it's on, like, talking, wrestling, you got to wrestle this guy or that guy, that girl. Like, when I first came back, it wasn't a thing to wrestle women. Yeah. Women was wrestling women. The men were wrestling the men. I come back and
now we see Rhea Ripley clotheslining Dominic, and like
we're seeing intergender tag team matches. We're seeing intergender, like it's just
big change. It's culture shock at some point.
You know, I mean, you gotta be ready for that though. You know, I feel like that's an easier match. I would think. I would think, depending on who you work in, because I've seen some big girls that would probably crush me.
There's so many different unique personas and characters and people of all like heights and sizes that's what makes wrestling unique. Is like you never know who you're gonna encounter. So with Jey Uso, and I bring him up because of the uniqueness.
He's supposed to
He's one of the most
He's
hyped up
going
wrestlers
against
right now.
Braun, right? He's
He's
going against
for
Braun.
the IC title. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's next week or like Bad Blood or something. So, what do you think of Jey Uso? Do you think they're doing him
I like
right, or like we all love him, we love the Yeet, but do you think WWE is putting him in the right direction right now? Because like I feel like a lot of people feel like they're not.
I mean, he needs to be with his brother and getting the tag belts, you know, like that's what he really needs to be doing. Yes, he can have a singles run, but there's just so much talent ahead of him, bro. Like, and then they're trying to push certain guys too. It's like, how do
And
we
he's kind of
make Jay?
there.
And he's been there for a minute. That's another thing too. So you've been there for a long time. What haven't they done with you? So now
Yeah.
they got to figure out what can they do with you. Also, have like you not get in the way of certain things. Like Braun is getting a run. Let's just be real. He's getting a run. He just got the title. Just came out of NXT. They've been
Quickly,
trying to
very quickly.
very quickly. He's trying to get the only push. He's gonna be like the next Goldberg, basically. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
They're really trying to push him, and he's like legit too. Like I think he played football or something.
Yes,
He
somewhere with
had some
Georgia, somewhere in Georgia.
right. He played like he's like a linebacker or something, or a lineman or something. He's known for doing the tackle, which is a spear, right?
Right.
So yeah, he's just another. He's another Goldberg, but that's supposed to be like faster because he runs
20,
like a
20,
four
yeah,
five.
yeah, like 23 miles an hour or something like that. They advertise, like Michael Cole
I
say.
ran a 4.5. I ran a 4.5 in high school. I wonder what I run now. You know what I mean? Like I'm probably faster now. You know what I'm saying? But I don't brag about running a 4.5. Like the hell, running a 4.3. Now that's impressive. You run a 4.3, then 4.5 is we're like the same speed, bro. Like,
Mhm.
but then again, we're both wrestlers. So with Jay, they could do better, of course. You know, like I said, I feel like him and his brother are the best tag team in on the roster. You know,
Oh
like
yeah,
it's hard.
was it like I don't even know how many
No,
tag titles
they
they've had.
still are. They still are. Like only because they do tag team move. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, they
they
got
actually
the
do tag team.
splash and like they do the
Right.
one
And these
D.
other guys are more like heels where they just cheat to beat you. That's not really like tag team. So they're the best tag. If you ask me, they're the best tag team. Then you have like the New Day, which is like right behind them, but like they just lost that one guy. So it's
Odyssey
like
Jones, yeah,
right.
and Biggie
And
can't compete either.
that whole thing was supposed to be like the buildup for Xavier to turn heel, and now that's all scrapped.
It's
All of
wild.
that is scrapped under the rug. Like, sorry. It
Well,
is what
that's
it is.
also
That's the
wild how real
business.
life gets into it too. Like obviously for good reason, Odyssey Jones is out, but it's just wild how quick it can shift.
And that's the business. Like Kamikaze said this best to me backstage. She was like, wrestling is a bunch of uncertainty. You know,
You
they
never
may
know.
tell you one you might come in, you're supposed to fight this one guy, maybe for the title. It might be a good day for you that day. And when you come in, it's like, oh, that guy can't wrestle, he got hurt. So we're gonna postpone the match. So we're gonna have you just wrestle this other guy now and just build off a storyline off that. And there goes the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Or the guy had a flat tire on his way over to the
Mhm.
show. Can't make it.
It's like with WWE. At the end of the day, a lot of times their decisions are sometimes Vince made decisions during the match, like last second, like, oh, you know what?
Right.
Make Cena win or make Cena lose while the match is still happening. And then they just tell
Make
the ref in
it
the
was
ear,
probably
like,
more
yo,
like make Cena win for sure back in those days.
yeah, absolutely,
But
absolutely.
it was the safe bet, you know, like John overachieved for years. He was the guy, you
Yeah.
know, like it was the safer thing to do, you know, and you know, man, like he likes big guys. So
He liked the jack dudes, the ones that really
he
like,
likes the muscle. He likes the bodybuilder wrestlers.
mm-hmm.
That's what we like. I'm not a bodybuilder wrestler. I'm more the natural athlete. Play basketball, football. You know, I can swim. There ain't really nothing I can't do. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
baseball. I played all the main sports. Like I said, handball as well. So
And that's what makes you
then
unique
I
too.
was just yeah. I'm not a bodybuilder. Like yeah, I work out with weights to stay in shape and keep my form, my figure, but I'm not by all means going to competitions and
Right. Yeah.
deadlifting
Right. Yeah.
300, 400 something pounds just to
Mhm.
get like, you know, some type of recognition. Like I don't like weights like that. I like wrestling.
And
I
that's a
like
lot of
that.
cardio too. Is like, yeah, there's weightlifting involved because you have to pick up basically 200-pound people, but you also have to have some stamina, and that comes from cardio, calisthenics, CrossFit. A lot of people do CrossFit.
CrossFit, you know,
All of that combined gets you in shape for this sport.
you got to be ready for it, man. Because man, just blow up. Let's go blow up and do a match. See what happens. You're gonna get made fun of by your peers. You're
Hmm.
gonna get made fun of by the fans. Like It's not a good feeling.
People
So
even that are jacked too, like people that are like huge on bodybuilding, sometimes they don't have the right cardio, and
I've
they
seen
can
that
power
before.
lift you like stand up and all that, but then if you make them run the ropes, they're out of breath.
I've been in the ring, like Ring of Honor. I think someone was saying something. I forgot. I think it was Delirious or somebody. They were saying, listen, I know you guys work out and you guys can probably lift 350, 400, 500 pounds. But if you got no stamina, you can't do shit.
Right.
You can't.
That's right.
So it don't matter how strong you are. You could be the most strongest guy in the locker room. No
You
stamina,
gotta
like
have
you're gonna
some
be
kind of.
done. You're gonna be done within 5, 6 minutes of the match. Like you're gonna be blown up. And then
Mm-hmm.
now the guy got to put a hold on you so you can catch your breath. Now you're making the match look shitty. Not saying like, it still can't be good. It could still be good. Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan.
I remember, I think like Ultimate Warrior was a little out of breath.
Ultimate, he blew up because his entrance, he comes out
Oh
running.
yeah, yeah, he's sprinting.
So he's already blown up the time he gets to the ring. Match starts. He's ready to take it home after 2 minutes, 3 minutes. He's ready to take it home. This dude Hogan is like, no, he puts him in a hold, like old school. Puts him in a hold.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
brother. These people pay good money, brother. We got to give
We're
them
gonna be
good.
here for a little bit.
Yeah, we got to
Can't
give
leave
him a
now.
good 15, 20 minutes, brother. So, yeah, that's when the veteran comes in and put him in a hold. Just slow down. As you tell him, slow down, because it'll look fast if you do it right.
So when it comes to WWE, for many, many years, up until 2019, WWE was the monopoly until
Right.
this new company came around, created by Cody Rhodes and Young Bucks and Kenny Omega by the name of All Elite Wrestling, which we all know now as AEW, obviously.
The EVPs.
In the process, we have gotten so much shit talking from both sides of their super fans in what we call tribalism. What are your thoughts on that? On the toxic tribalism of AEW versus WWE fans?
Those are just super marks that don't wrestle. They just super fan for their favorite promotion, which is understandable.
You have every
You know,
right to
you're
be.
you're a diehard fan of wrestling, but you really love it from this promotion. Okay, cool. But at the end of the day, it's all wrestling, and we shouldn't be fighting. Like we should be kind of like praising the fact that we have multiple companies where wrestlers can get work.
Right.
Like now.
Exactly.
Like you asked me, there's like what, like five main really good promotions, right? That are on TV and stuff like that, like five of them, right? It wasn't like that, like you said, to 2019, 2018. It wasn't like that back then. Like you just had TNA was like on the
It was going down a little bit.
it was like, yeah, it was like that. Ring of Honor, what they had TV, but they were on a channel you never heard of, like
Yeah, it was
HD Net. Like who the fuck has HD Net?
or online, yeah.
Some garbage. And then there was no AEW. It
Yeah.
was just TNA,
Ring of
maybe
Honor,
Ring of Honor,
WWE,
Dragon Gate, Akira. Wait, what was it
and
called? Akira? Oh.
and then New Japan, obviously, but not everybody
Well,
even watches New Japan. That's
who's
like
gonna go all the way to Japan to wrestle?
yeah, that
And then
that's an
and then
investment
and
in
then
its own.
and then on top of that, you're wrestling more dangerously. Like it's more strong style. You're shortening your career even more by going over there. That's what they don't tell you. The ring is harder over there. The ropes are tighter. Yeah, it's a different lifestyle over there. Like the ring is over here more softer. You take a bump, it won't hurt that much.
Right.
But if you
Okay.
do it right, you take the move right, it won't
Right,
hurt.
right.
It's an investment, big time.
The fans don't realize that. They're just seeing, oh, AEW, WWE. They're not
Oh, they think it's
realizing
all
that
the
like
same. They
that
think the
they're
ring
not.
is the same. They think everything is the same, and it's really not. Like there's like there's different genres of music, there's different genres of wrestling, and then like the way they make things
And all
too.
these wrestlers know each other already. Like they're all friends with
Like
each
like
other. Like they're
hmm,
like not everybody specifically,
not
but
everybody.
like they know each other. They're aware of each other. Like for example, Mercedes Moné knows Bailey. They're friends with each other. Chelsea Green's in WWE. Matt Cardona's doing the Indies, for example. Like they're all intertwined with each other in some way, whether they're friends
All of
or
those
not.
guys you mentioned all been in WWE, so of course they're gonna know each other.
That too,
You
yeah.
know,
And they're all aware of
Yeah,
each other.
they
That's
all
like,
came up. They all came up together. So it's like, yeah, of course they're gonna be friends. That's
and they're
like
gonna
me.
and they're rooting for each other's
Right, and they root
brands.
for each other, right? That's like me. That's like me going to my club with Johnny Roz, and anybody who came from Johnny Roz's club, I'm gonna root for, and I will. You know what I mean? Anybody, Matt Striker, Devon Dudley, I'm going for those guys. You know what I'm saying? So it's like same thing with the new guys. Misha Slamovich.
Okay.
You know her?
Yeah.
She's in TNA.
Okay.
She's a Johnny Roz guy. I root for you because you come from.
Yeah, you come from
We
the
all
same
came up
place.
together. We all came up together. Like You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing. Yeah, we're cool with each other. Do we hit each other up? Hey, how you doing? No, you're doing your thing. I'm doing my thing.
Yeah.
But when I see you, it's love.
Exactly. It's all the
So that's
profession. It's all profession. You're all business people working in the same industry. They see it as, oh, AEW can't fill seats, so like they're freaking trash. So like the wrestlers are trash. Like, no, that
that's
is
not true.
farthest from the case. That is not the
It,
case.
it just could be that most of their fans aren't really in that location,
That's what I try to
you
bring
know?
up. It's like AEW doesn't
Or
go to the same places as WWE. It's
right.
probably in a location where, you know, the wrestling probably isn't as popular. They'll know WWE, but
Like, all
maybe
right, so
AEW may not be known as.
right. I did a show, Massachusetts, New Age Wrestling. After the show, they were like, hey, we're going to be doing some street team stuff for AEW because they're coming to their city. So, you know, it all depends on like who's really working with them promotionally wise, like working with the locals. And they're a new company still. You think about it, 2019, what
Yeah,
is
but
that,
what do
like
you
4 or 5 years ago?
WWE was made
Right.
in the 60s. It didn't become its success
Right.
that it is now like 5 years later, even
Right. And
10
this
years
place is in
later.
stadiums. Like, remember when WWE first started, they
They
were at
were
the Hammerstein Ballroom.
they were in small places, yeah.
They were in a small venue, just like where ECW started. You know what I mean? They didn't sell out Madison Square Garden right
And
away. You know, it took
now
like
they're doing Wembley. Now they're
their second
doing
WrestleMania.
freaking they're doing Arthur Ashe and Queens. They're doing these places where there's people, and I'd be grateful to be able to go to any of these shows, or even be happy as a businessman and man that people are coming in to even watch this. I don't care
The
if hard
fact
cam's
that
empty.
there's work for
Exactly. Yes.
wrestlers is it's a good thing. That's all I see it as a good thing. I don't see it as competition like these guys
It's
see it as
not.
like they're fighting. It's not competition. It's a good thing for the wrestlers. We're getting work. Like
And it's good for the
someone like my
businesses.
boy Steve Pena, like he went to over there and had a good little job over there, worked with them. That's great. Like I'm proud of you guys for doing that stuff.
And
Like
it
I don't see what the problem is. Like I
and
don't
it
care if
makes
you
the
were
companies want
WWE
to
one
compete each
week,
other.
TNA the next, and then AEW the next week after that. Like I good. Get it while it's hot. That's
Definitely.
great. I'm happy when I see Joe Henry in NXT killing it and doing what he
Yeah,
has to
it's
do
doing
over there.
TNA and then
I'm
goes right
actually
back to
happy
TNA.
that WWE is working with TNA. Like I like that. You know what I
It's a
mean?
great
But we don't
relationship,
talk
man.
about that. We don't talk about that. No, we talk about the empty seats
Yeah.
and the crowd. Like, are you serious, guys? Like, really?
Like
The
that's
empty
their main
seats?
focus. Like what are they
Like,
gonna do?
I've been to other events like WWE, and the whole back of the entrance is empty seats. But they're not showing you that. They're not
Yeah,
showing you
yeah.
the 25% of the stadium that they're not
Even
selling.
using,
They're
yeah.
showing you the rest. And not for nothing. I seen that picture online. I seen it and I was like, this picture looks like they took it before the show even started.
Before the show started, or
Right.
yeah.
It looked like they took the photo before the show even started. Like, why are you even talking shit?
Or like the pre-show, like people are still getting their snacks and
Bro,
stuff.
before the pre-show where people are just still getting to their seats. Like that's what that picture looks like.
Hmm.
Cause like they had the house lights on still, you know?
Well, agreed. Like it's like it might as well just have fun with the wrestling. People take it too serious and they're too offended over stuff that doesn't affect them in their everyday life.
Overreact, like I said, it's super marks that are overreact, like just getting mad at the most dumbest stuff. Like your favorite wrestler is getting work. What's the problem?
Yep, I
He's
got
getting paid the same. Whether those seats are still filled or not, he's getting paid the same. So
exactly. You should be happy for the
what does it
wrestlers.
matter?
Be happy for the
Right.
wrestlers. So we got 2 questions from our community. So shout out to the Jailed Universe for you guys asking your questions. So just to make it quick, we got 2 questions. First one is from Luke Pedke, who is one half of PW Unlimited over on YouTube. His question is, what is a dream match that you'd love to have?
Singles wise, I wanna go against and I've been saying this for like to a couple of my wrestling buddies because they asked me that too. They're like, "Hey, who you want to face?" As a baby face, I would like to face Doctor Sleep. Really good heel, knows how to work the crowd, good storyteller, hell of a gimmick too. And I think he does the mandible claw as his finish, which would
Yeah.
be cool. So you know, stuff like that is like I like it. You know, like
Oh yeah.
I like a good wrestler that can. And now if I was heel and I had to go against a baby face, I would say Buffa AEO.
Okay.
You know, just cause like he got that energy, he's dancing, he's always with the crowd, he got the boom box, like he's just his own little gimmick. I like it. Like it's if you don't like for wrestling, like I like the wrestling for like the pageantry as well. So it's like he brings that other aspect of an act to the wrestling, whether
Good.
it's being funny, being like dancing, doing, and he can wrestle. You know, he's trained by like what Homicide and
Homicide's a good one, man.
Low Key at the Doghouse in Brooklyn. Yeah, so like he has the accolades, politics behind him, and he also wrestles overseas. So like I would love to as a heel though, I would have to be a heel. I can't be no baby face going against because then I'll just be too baby. Like I don't, you know what I mean? But yeah, if I was a heel, Buffer, and if I was babyface, Dr. Sleep.
Hell yeah. So our final question from the community is
Anthony, I would say his name too, Anthony Gangone.
there you go.
So
boom.
So no one's. I don't want to disrespect.
So our final question is from Chrissy Tina. Shout out to her over on TikTok and Instagram and La Familia. What does representation mean to you in the wrestling industry?
Representation, professionalism, showing up early, showing the initiative, showing that you want to be there, listening, not really talking too much, only talking when they need something from you. Whether it's advice or just having conversation. You know, you don't want to say too much. You want to be more of a listener, more of a hands-on learner, see how they operate, learn, you know, how things are moving. Because eventually you're gonna go somewhere else and they're gonna do the kind of the same thing. So you kind of want to be familiar with how everything is moving. Yeah, professionalism. That's my answer. You know, just I'm not saying go to a show with a suit and tie. Like I know they kind of preach that, like, hey, you got to show like it's a job, but I've seen some guys come in with like sweats, a hoodie. You know what I mean? You don't gotta be that professional, but at the same time,
you could even be in between a little bit, like, you know, but show some kind of
formal. And I'm saying right, but I'm saying that for the indies though, like indie scene. Like if you're going to WWE, AEW, yeah, then wear a suit.
Yeah,
you know, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, go crazy because that's the top of the top. But if you're in the indies, you don't gotta kill yourself with how you. Because for nothing, there could be a show going on and it's a heat wave. It's a heat wave. While a show is going on, you think you're gonna wear a suit and a blazer? You got a tie. Like, what if the AC's out?
Which can happen in these small venues.
Yeah, so you want to be ready for anything.
At the end of the day, you have to be prepared. Again, wrestling, you never know what's going to happen. You said before, someone's tire blows out, now things change. So if someone can't make it, you got to be prepared. You got to adapt. I think adapt is one of my favorite words when it comes to any kind of like job. Like you got to know how to adapt because that's where you stand out. So Rick, again, I appreciate you pulling up today. You've been awesome to chat with. There is one let him know. I actually have my Puerto Rican hat, but I forgot where I put it. I was gonna wear it because like it's the blue one with the.
I was thinking about wearing mine. We got the same hat. I was thinking about throwing that hat on too, but I was like, I don't really match with it.
I just threw this on. I think it was like the first thing I saw. It's actually a Roman Reigns hat. You
nice.
You see the God mode there.
Okay. I like it. It's red and black. My favorite colors.
Got it from MSG last year, I think. I think it was last year when they were in MSG. So the final question is the question I ask everybody. And the question is, what do you have to say to those who like to talk shit and say wrestling is fake?
Go try it. Go try it.
Wow. Okay. I like that.
Go. If it's so easy and it's so fake, why don't you do it?
I like that answer.
Go try it. Have a go. Because I'll tell you from experience, the best part of wrestling is the actual show. It's not the training. Training, that's where you can get hurt, you know, because you're really putting yourself torment. Really.
And the shows are basically your recess, your lunch break.
Oh my God.
From all of that, where you can actually show it off.
You can actually show it off. And I've never got hurt at a show. I only got hurt like at practice, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, it's a difference, you know, especially if someone's trying to take you out. They're going to take you out at practice. They're not going to take you out during the show. The cameras are live.
You got to be professional when the camera's alive. But if you got beef with somebody, you know, the training's kind of where you squash it or settle it.
Right. Unfortunately, even if you are unaware, like, oh, we had a problem. Like, what's the problem? Oh, you just don't like me. Oh, okay. Sometimes that happens. Like, but 9 times out of 10, they don't even want that. And if they do want that, they'll get in trouble. Whoever's keeping them in their school, whatever, and they're allowing this, like that.
Yeah,
that can't be allowed.
It doesn't make the school.
Yeah, that can't be allowed. So like, you just gotta talk to the owner, you know, your trainer, and he'll set his students straight. Like, if they don't listen to you, they'll listen to them. You know what I mean? So that's what I learned from them. Because some people don't want to listen to someone that looks young. And, oh, you don't want to listen to me. Even though I got all the experience. Okay. Oh, you know what you're doing. Oh, okay. And then they get mad that I just okay them. I kayfabe them. Bro, you can't get mad. You're telling me you know everything. Like, okay, you know everything.
Whatever helps you sleep.
And you're going to get mad because I don't give a fuck. I at the end of the day, you got to care about yourself. Got to make sure you're good for anybody.
Right.
If you can't go, don't go. Take your time. Rest. heal. Some guys don't get that. They go and they still work hurt, and then
It's
they
just
wonder
damaging
why.
yourself more.
Yeah, and they wonder why they got like a bad limp when they go into work the next day or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you gotta chill. You
Take
know,
the
some
rest
like
day. It's
what is it?
okay.
DDP yoga. Remember DDP?
Yo, I've heard great things about that.
It brought people back from retirement. That's an investment.
And you're investing in yourself again, body for the physical and then mental for the psychology of the whole business. And I like your answer of the of just try it, because
just try it.
You know,
if it's so fake,
Mhm.
if it's so fake and so easy, and anybody can make money off doing it, right? Do it. Go do it. Go
like,
jump in.
Because like we
Go
always
have a
have this thing where it's, well, what about your favorite movies and stuff? Like your favorite movies are scripted. Obviously, Spider-Man ain't saving the day. If you're not gonna understand it, it's similar to like how movies are, where you're not gonna know what the ending result is until the end of the movie. Even if it's like a twist, then you try the professional sport.
Even Spider-Man had Macho Man in the movie.
I got you for 3 minutes.
3 minutes of playtime.
Let them know. Facts. So that's where we wrap it up here for today's episode of the Laying It Down podcast. Rick, is there any last things you want to promote? Self-promo, last words
all I could
for
say
us here?
All I could say is follow me on Instagram. Keep in touch. I just dropped a music project again, Rockstar Galore on all platforms.
Hell yeah.
It's like alternative rock and hip hop fusion.
Okay.
A little bit of everything, and it's good quality music. We got top engineers working on that, and also top producers worked on the beat. So everything is A1 quality. I take my music just as serious as the craft that I do in the ring. In fact, I even come out to one of my songs when I go to the ring. That's how you do it.
That's marketing itself.
Yes,
it's like Cody Rhodes with Kingdom with Downstate. Now you got your music, and now they're gonna be listening to that.
Now they're gonna be listening to Rockstar Galore. Yep, absolutely. I got some reviews back from some couple wrestlers that I didn't think they would check it out, but a lot of good things were said. I was told I got Little Peep vibes. I don't know if you listen to Little Peep.
I've heard of him, but never listened to him.
Someone said, "Oh, you remind me of Little Peep," and that's cool. So just little things like that I like to hear. I know a website did a catalog on, not a catalog, but they did like a review on the album, and they had really, really nice things to say, and I really appreciate those guys as well.
Of course, keep up the great work.
Absolutely. In other news, shout out my partner NutriaSec. We're gonna take over the scene with the next level. That's how you do it. All right. Next show, October 12th, in New Jersey, EBW Pro. We're gonna be doing a live event. It's gonna be a live show outside, like a festival.
Cool.
That's October 12th. September 20th was supposed to be Loud East, but I just found out they canceled for some personal reasons. And then the 21st, the next day, is Wrestling Is Now, and that's going to be at the Mecca at Richfield, New Jersey. I'm going to be helping them with their show. If they need me to be a part of the show, that'd be cool. If not, it's cool. Like, I'm just happy to be there and just get the experience and learn and network, because every time these shows be going on,
you gotta advertise yourself.
Someone knows me. That's the thing. See, a lot of guys don't know that, but when I go to shows, some of those wrestlers already know me, so they already come up to me, "Hey, how you been, Rick Rowe?" Like, you know what I'm saying? And
then people looking from a distance are like, "Oh, like he knew that guy." Like that you look like, okay, you're somebody important, and then a booker or a promoter might see that and be like, "Let me see who this Rick Rose guy is."
Right. If they ask the right person, they'll say, "Yeah, like he's trained by Johnny." Johnny Rush. Shout out to Johnny Rush. It all comes down to politics, and if they like you right off the spot. Like I said, professionalism. Come early, show up, show the initiative, show that you want to be there. Be ready for anything, because they might say, "Hey, I need you in a scramble match," and that's happened before.
Like a battle royal.
And I never done a scramble before. It was like a 6-way scramble, whatever. I never done a scramble before, but the match came out good. It was supposed to be a dark match, but they ended up posting it because it was actually good. So it was like, oh, cool.
You never know. That's publicity, like out of nowhere, especially if it goes well.
Exposure is exposure, so I ain't complaining.
Everybody watching, if you haven't watched the Laying It Down podcast, make sure you subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications. That way we get some of the best wrestling podcast episodes out there and just wrestling content overall. Make sure you guys are following Rick Rose. All of the links are down in the description below. And once again, shout out to our sponsor of today's episode, E-Deuce and Baby Deuce. Thank you for sponsoring the episode of the Laying It Down podcast. Go follow them over on TikTok and Instagram for their amazing wrestling content. So without further ado, Rick Rose, again, I appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. And for everybody watching at home, I will see you guys on the next video. Peace out, guys.